friends, and Happy New Year. I don't know about you, but I couldn't be more delighted to have 2020 behind us. I'm making a card today that is an alteration of the Karen Berniston Triple Flip. I'm calling it Triple Flip Plus 2. I've linked all the products that I used in the description box below, as well as Karen's instruction video. If you haven't made a triple flip yet, or you just need a little bit of refreshing, I would suggest that you watch Karen's video before proceeding with this one. This is a lot of fun, so let's get started. I've already gone ahead and done the die cutting and some of the simple assembly to make this process go a little quicker. My finished card size is 9 by 4. Then I put a decorative panel on the front that measures 8 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I've rounded the corners. My panel for the flips is going to be just a little bit smaller because I wanted a little decorative edge, a little bit more showing around the edge. So this panel is 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. I've already cut out, glued, and creased the tabs. I have 5 tabs since I have 5 flips. I've not assembled, but I have cut out and have my things ready that's going to go on the flip panel. So I'm just going to set those aside for right now because I don't need them. I've cut 2 of these mechanism pieces, and I'm going to show you how to put them together in a few minutes. On this panel, I wanted my 5 flips to go straight across the center. So I turned my panel over. I marked it with a 3/4 inch mark all across the center. That's because on this piece that I'm going to use to make the holes in the piece is 3/4 of an inch right there. So what I'm going to do to begin with is lay this down here, and I don't want to cut the edges, so I want to get the blade off the paper. So I'm just going to push that up there till it hits the edge. I'm going to line it up with my marks. Okay. Now I'm going to hold that in place with a little bit of low-tack tape. And now, since I just want these 3 holes and I don't want anything else right now, what I'm going to do is put this small piece of cutting pad that I've cut up, and I'm going to place it just where I want it. That way nothing else on the die is going to cut. I just want the holes across there. Now these pads are from Sizzix. They're AccuCut pads, and I had a great big one that I cut up into several small pieces. I like doing this because I can have die cuts exactly where I want them. Now if you don't have access to these kinds of pads, something else that will work is a cutting mat, and this one has been cut up from a larger one. My friend gave me this, so I have it to use as a cutting pad, but you can still cut them any size you want. You have to have some heavy-duty scissors, like I like to use the Tim Holtz ones, the big shears, and that'll cut it. It's not easy, but it can be done. And then if you don't have the Tim Holtz shears, maybe you can go out and raid your husband's garage like I do and find some like tin snips or heavy cutters. Anyway, that'll do it. So now I'm going to take this to the die cutting machine. I'm going to cut it right here, just where this impression is, and when I come back I'll have 3 holes in this panel. I'll be right back. Once I remove the die, I have the first 3 holes, and since I want 5, I'm going to seat that last one into there. I'm going to just slide it around till it falls in there. Then I'm going to line it up with my lines, and I'm going to put my tape back on, and then I'm going to use the same little cutting pad once again, and I'm going to place it just where I want to cut. I'm not ready to cut this little groove yet, so I'm not placing it over that. The nice thing about these cutting pads is it only puts pressure and only makes a cut where the pad is. I'm going to take it to the die cutting machine once again, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I have all 5 holes. Then I took the little half moon die that comes in the triple flip set, and I placed it on the edge of my panel. Now I've already cut it, run it through the die cutting machine, so now I'm going to remove the die and the tape. I can see I didn't get it quite close enough to the edge, so I'm just going to take my scissors and snip that till it comes off. Okay, now I'm just going to turn the whole thing over, and you'll see that it looks nice, neat, and clean, and it's ready to go on my card. If you're wondering about making one of these, I suggest that you always make an experimental model. That's what I do. Before I embarked on this, as you can see, I didn't get the holes lined up the way I wanted to, so I practiced. On this next try, I had it good, and then I put my little flippers on there. I can see that everything is working just fine, so then I proceeded with the paper that I really wanted to use. Alright, next I want to use these two pieces. I'm going to just push this aside for a minute. Usually you would use one because they have 3 openings, but for a triple flip plus 2, we need a little bit of extra. I've already taken a little bit of the purple paper and put it underneath the arrow so that when it turns over, it's coordinating. I'm going to put some glue right here. Whoops. Come on, glue. There we go. I'm going to cover this whole section, and I'll tell you why in just a second. You don't want to go past this first mark for your assembly. So this part we're going to just double up, and then we're going to assemble the little tabs just like Karen did in the instruction video. But what I'm going to do is line this up so that this little V, if you line that up right there and right along the bottom, press it down. Oops, you want to line it up. That's why I like to use glue. Number 1, it's strong. Number 2, you still have a minute or 2 to move it around a little bit. Not very much. So I'm going to try to redo that. Okay, I think I have it lined up this time. Alright. Now, since we overlap them, we have a little bit of we have it covered right here. So I'm just going to take my scissors and snip that out. Okay, now we have our tab for the end and then 4 more, so we're good to go. Now I'm going to start by putting all my little tabs in there, and this can be kind of a tedious process, so I'm just going to speed it up a little bit here so that you don't have to watch me put every one of these little tabs in. But what you want to do is, I'm going to put some glue right on the inside of this tab. I'm going to glue it onto the end. And then I'm going to put this tab down, just like that. Now, I'm going to do that 4 more times. Alright, now that we have all of that done, I'm going to open it up a little bit. I'm going to put glue on every one of these tabs on the back, and I'm going to glue it closed. Give it a little pressure right there. Okay. Okay, that's all ready to go. Thing we need to do next is put our little tabs through the holes. Once again, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because this is kind of tedious and it's sometimes not fun. Okay, now I have everything working, and I've decided that I'm going to use the foam tape just as Karen did in her video. So I'm going to flatten this down. I've already put one piece here. I'm going to put another piece along the bottom. Press it down well. Okay, so now let's peel off the backing. Okay, now I want to place it on the front of my card. Get it as centered as possible. Right. So let's get it just like that. Okay. I want to press it down. See if it's operational. Whoops. Let's see. Come on. Maybe I pressed it down a little too tight. There we go. Okay, so I have that all in place. Now I'm going to start adding my panels. I'm going to start with the back one. I'm going to do it exactly like Karen showed in the video. So I'm going to start with placing my glue all over one panel. Get that on camera. And I'm being generous. Place that down so that it's centered. And let's see, right. Centered and level. Then I'm going to put some on the top of my tub. And place my other panel right exactly on top, lining it up. Okay. All right. Now, just 4 more times to go. I got all my panels on, but as you may have noticed earlier, I had this whole pink panel on just a little bit too tight, so I decided I needed to fix that. So what I did is I took a credit card. I keep an old one or a gift card, as long as it's the plastic kind. I keep that in my craft room for lifting things. And what I did was I gently slid the card, holding this down all the way under the tape until it came up. So this way I can loosen it and give it a little bit more operational room, because it was just simply too doggone tight. So I'm going to fix that part right now. I'll be right back. Once I had the tape pulled up, I put a dowel rod underneath here. It's a very small one. You could probably use maybe a pencil, but a pencil might be too much. But anyway, that just gives a little bit of extra operational room So anything you can use to bump it up. So now it works much better. And I'm happier with that. So I'm going to go ahead with my decorating now. And let's see. I'm going to put hello. I want to put it right about there. Now I'm going to use my clear ruler and line it up so I can get them reasonably straight. So this is right there. So I've got a mark right there and here. I'm going to hold that on there. Now I'm going to finish putting the rest of my letters on. I'm going to do the back side of the flip panels. Whoops. It works better if you don't hold on to the panel while you're trying to move it. Okay, so earlier you may have seen that I cut out the word happy, and I was going to put happy 2021, but I decided that I had a little bit of a change of plans. So I'm just going to put the 2021 here, and I'm going to put it sort of wonky so that I don't have to line it up, because the panels don't always line up. So I decided that wonky would be better. Okay, then since I have an extra space here, I have this cute little fox from the Woodland Animals set, and I decided that I would put him right here. And then that's it. Just go for it. There we go. All right. I made a simple panel for the inside so that I can write a personal message on it, and then it's done. When it was all said and done, I decided to add a little trim along the bottom and across the top. This is a fun way to add a little interest to your cards. With slimline cards being all the rage right now, this is a fun alteration to a die set that you may already have in your collection. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.